Welcome back to Confidence Culture, Diverse Narratives on the Silent Superpower. I'm your host, Galia, and today with us, we've got Bella.
Hi.
How are you doing, Bella? Thanks for coming
Great.
on.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? So where you're from, what you're up to in life, maybe what you do for a living, and just any background that you think could be fun for our listeners to know about you.
Great. So I'm Bella. I am originally from Colombia, South America, residing in Miami, which is sort of a very Latin, Hispanic sort of place to be. So it's a nice combination. I am married and I have two kids. They're teenagers, 13 and 16. And in my career, I'm in marketing research. I'm a focus group moderator, and I've been doing this for over 20 years.
That's so cool. How did you get into that line of work?
I did graduate work in Colombia in marketing, and part of the learning was around marketing research, and it seemed to be what I enjoyed the most. And in one of my courses, we saw the qualitative research part of marketing research, and I got to be the moderator in our little group project, and I really liked it, so I pursued it, and that's what I've been doing.
That's so cool. That's really fun. That's like cool that you found something that you just liked in uni and you just continued.
Yeah,
That's really cool. I also really like qualitative research. I did
cool.
a degree as well.
Amazing.
So on this podcast, we're talking about confidence, and we're really interested in different perspectives from all around the world. So we've gotten people from Ethiopia, from Latvia, South Africa. So we're just trying to get a large global perspective on confidence, which is what Hopstare, our company, does. So I'm curious to hear what your perspectives on confidence are. So what is confidence to you? What do you think confidence is?
Confidence is believing in yourself, is what I think. It also stems from just having goals and meeting them and feeling good about yourself. I think it's something that's we all need to work on, especially as we get older. It seems like when you're at a younger age, when you're a teenager, you feel like you're on top of the world. But as life goes on and you get older, sometimes you get a lot of hard knocks and it can get a little bit harder, but there's always something to be thankful for, which is also part of confidence, just having that faith. But yeah, confidence is something that's really important in every facet of life.
It's really interesting. So you mentioned that throughout life your confidence can kind of in teenagehood be soaring, it'd be great, and then it kind of gets knocked down throughout life. Is that kind of the experience that you've had?
Probably, yeah. Maybe through your 20s, you're going up and up. And then once you get into your 30s, it can plateau. That's been my experience. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. So how has your confidence been affected throughout your career journey? Do you think that ties into that kind of plateau you were describing?
Well, I have managed to sort of maybe during child rearing, it was very hard to manage both having little kids and not having a lot of help and being able to have a career. So I think as they've gotten older, I've been able to jumpstart my career and go back to the corporate world, and really I've been able to soar. Um, I'm just starting a new job in 2 weeks. So in terms of work, just working and working and working at it helps you to keep that confidence going and meeting your goals and getting to different levels. And I was kind of out of the workforce for a little bit, and coming back in, I think, has helped to boost my confidence.
Oh,
And it's been great. Yeah. So I feel like I've had a bit of an upswing. So
that's good. Yeah, we all go through our ups and downs with
yeah.
our confidence. So you mentioned that during child rearing, when your kids were quite small, and you had to kind of take a step back from your career a bit. And you mentioned that being kind of difficult for your confidence. Could you maybe talk a little bit more about that, what that looked like for you?
Right, right. And don't get me wrong, it's like a great time in life and I thoroughly enjoyed it and I wouldn't take it back for anything in the world. But I think work-wise, you're just exhausted and you don't get a lot of sleep, and you have this responsibility of this little being that takes a lot of your time, energy, and focus. So, professionally, it wasn't as easy for me to be able to, invest the time in that. So I took a step back to invest in my children. And I think it's paying off. I hope it will pay off. But work wise, it was hard. And when you're out of the workplace, it just seems like you lose that steam and you kind of lose that propping yourself up that you have to do constantly in the workforce. So I was able to get back into it and get that machinery going back. Um, so I made it work, but yeah, it's not easy in that sense in terms of confidence in the workplace.
Have you seen the movie Barbie?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, great
So
movie.
spot on.
It's
So spot on.
your stories reminded me of that because I think oftentimes women kind of struggle with these two massive expectations of them. You know, you have to be career driven. You have no excuse now. You have full rights. You can like thank God like there's more equality in the world. But then with that comes the dual responsibility of taking care of your kids as well. And you kind of
Yep.
have to balance those two things. And it sounds like if you're going full speed ahead with your career, then maybe you're not spending as much time with your kids, and then vice versa. And then uh, so has that maybe affected your confidence? Does that resonate with you, that kind of struggle between those two worlds?
Yes, absolutely. It's a balancing act. And even now, I have teenagers, and the needs are different. You don't have to hover over your child as much, but they still do have emotional needs. And I want to have the time to be present and the mindset to be present. But there's deadlines and there's, you know, goals that have to be met at work that do take energy and time. So it's still, even to this day, a bit of a juggling act, but fortunately they are more independent, more mature. So it's still a constant, balancing act in terms of maintaining a home, having a relationship with my husband, rearing my children and helping them navigate things in life. So, um, yeah, and hoping that they have confidence too, because um, I think now with social media, when I was growing up, there was no social media. So I think that's something that puts a lot of pressure on all of us and on young people, even more.
Do you think that the social media's influence on like kids' confidence, where as a parent, where do you think that how do you think that translates? Do you think that they're like comparing themselves to people online, or there's certain expectations they have to meet? Yeah, what do you think the impact is?
Yeah, I think just all the influences that they're exposed to just in within a second in the palm of your hand, and it can be hard to keep up with that, keep up with those expectations of being cool, of being pretty, of being like, confident even. Um it poses a challenge, and it adds additional stress to see other people in these, ideal, what looks like is ideal lifestyles, and doing these things or looking certain ways. And it's just very hard to escape it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That definitely is really difficult. Do you think that the confidence culture kind of differs between Colombia and the US? Because you've lived in both places now. So would you say that like each culture's perspective is similar, is different?
I know that from my experience in Colombia, and I'm from the coast in Colombia. There's a lot more of family, more social events. Those things play a bigger role, whereas I feel like the United States is more of an independent society where there's not as much interaction and socialness around. It doesn't abound. It's something that you have to seek out. That's my experience. So I think just having that support of family and friends and really getting together a lot. The United States is a lot more about work, work, work.
Very interesting.
So it's a different kind of confidence. That's my experience.
So would you say it's easier to be confident in Colombia just because you've got that solid support network?
I think that helps. I think that definitely helps. I think here the confidence has to really be built, and it's a lot about selling yourself.
Mm.
And that's not easy for everyone. And I don't know if it's because I'm Colombian that that's not really something I've had to do, maybe culturally, but it's something I've had to learn. So I do think there is a difference culturally.
That is really interesting. Do you think there's anything else interesting that ties into confidence that has to do with Colombia?
Well, it's kind of twofold in terms of in Colombia, it's a country that's had a lot of hardship, politically, sociopolitically. There's been violence, there's been a lot of issues in the country. So I feel like it's an unfortunate thing to have to go through, but people live every moment a bit more, I think. It makes people appreciate just life, family life in particular, and that collectivity, that social um, life that is so important there on the one end. On the other hand, in my experience, it's also a country that focuses a lot on having a good time. We have Shakira, we have a lot now, we have Carol G, we have music, dance. Our culture is very much about having a party. And you know what? Every now and then, just dance. And I think it's a very much culture that revolves around dance and music.
Do you think that that dancing culture engenders more confidence in people? Because I think you have to have quite a bit of confidence to to like move and dance to music. So do you think that those things?
Yeah, I think so. It's just happy. It's happy, it's celebration. It's, be comfortable in your own skin, be comfortable in your body and, move and, just getting those endorphins going regardless is a good time, but I think it's something that's part of the culture and part of society. So, all their events are revolve dancing, at least when I was growing up there. Every any event that the family got together, there was music, there was dancing and beer or something like that as well. But just the dancing and music, I think, is just happy and it just gives you a boost.
Could you tell me a little bit more about what it was like to grow up in Colombia?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of cousins and my grandparents, both grandparents on both sides were from the same city. So it was just lovely. We lived in a city on the ocean on the Caribbean called Cartagena. And so we had the ocean. Um, we had family trips to the beach, get-togethers having a traditional soup called sancocho. It was just very warm with all the aunts and uncles and the cousins and just a very happy place.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Could you describe maybe a confidence low that you've had in your life? And then I want to hear about a confidence high later. But I think it's interesting to hear about people's personal journeys.
I think even like with projects, even like when I'm working on a project, and most of the time it goes really well, but then some of the time it doesn't go well in terms of what I'm reporting or what I'm finding, and separating like that the work isn't going well from me as a person can be hard, and it can sort of get you down, and it's hard to be able to, just focus on that. So I know recently I had a project that we were testing something and it was going bad, and I was the bearer of bad news to my client. And I felt bad. Personally, I felt bad. Like I wasn't doing a good job. But ultimately, on the second day of research, I got my confidence up in order to really kind of take the findings of what I was learning from consumers to sort of help them to not make a mistake in their marketing and to really help them. But there was a moment there where I felt like it was me, but it was really just the work and having to be able to flip that perspective around and find the right perspective to be able to turn it into what it had to be, which was, taking the learning and um, consulting with the client to help them to make better decisions and better improvements in what we were trying to test.
Right, yeah. That can be really hard, I think, in anybody's life, separating between, whatever they're doing and themselves. Like, it can be
Yeah,
like, cool, also, like, your grades don't define you. In work, your whatever, your productivity doesn't define you. Kind of recognizing that there's different parts of you, and if one isn't, like, succeeding, that doesn't, make everything else come tumbling down, crashing.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
That
that's
can
really
be.
important.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, could you describe a confidence high that you've had? It can be in your career, outside your career, any time in your life.
Well, getting a new job is always a nice boost to feel like, you go through all these interviews, and nowadays they make you do some homework and just a little bit of stress of having to navigate that and deliver something that is going to kind of catapult you into that position and make you attractive to a different situation there. So I managed to navigate it successfully and I got a job offer, and that's a real boost for sure.
Yeah, that is cool too. Yeah, like, someone thinks that you're cool and they wanna hire you.
Yeah.
What difference do you feel that confidence makes to your life when you have confidence and you feel good? Like, how does that impact you?
In terms of having confidence and feeling good about yourself, it's almost like things go more smoothly when you feel confident. You believe more in yourself and what you're doing. You kind of put out better energy into the world than when you're not feeling as confident about yourself. So I think everything is just like comes together. It's like a cycle, like a circle.
So you're saying that life just feels smoother because, like, you're soaring, you're cruising, you feel confident, like, things just kind of follow.
Hmm.
They don't, like, would you say that you're more resilient if you're feeling confident, if things, like, don't?
I think so. I think so. It's harder to get knocked down by little things that might happen, or just keep that positivity going.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a confident person?
No.
Yeah.
um, I feel like I navigate it very well, but I wouldn't say I'm such a confident person. Um, because I'm not such an extrovert, and I feel like confidence comes with people that are more, out there, that can sort of project themselves. And I have a hard time with that. And it's something I work on, and I hope to get better at it every day.
I've heard from just other guests, and I'm curious what you think of this, on that take on extroversion. I spoke to my brother, my brother,
Hmm.
Oren, because me and Bella live on the same street back in Florida. I don't live in Florida anymore, but
Hmm.
so Oren described how extroversion is maybe one facet of confidence and one way for it to present itself. But confidence could also be feeling okay with being alone, being a bit quieter, being, like, more like one with yourself vibes.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
balance that
absolutely.
too? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I feel like there comes a point when you're okay with that, and that does end up boosting your confidence because this is who you are. You don't have to force yourself to be someone you're not. And I think accepting that is part of um, just having that confidence in yourself. So I think that's a really great point.
Yeah, go Oren. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just because I also, when I am in any kind of social setting, I'm like, why am I not more confident? Why am I not, like, putting myself out there? Why am I not louder, making more jokes, talking to more people? Sometimes
Mm,
it's okay. You can just talk to the people you want to speak to, and then
mhm.
good and it's fine. Like you don't have to be the life of the party necessarily. Uh,
Right.
when you do feel confident and you do feel like you've got that little boost going on, what helps keep you on that wave? What keeps you feeling confident and proud of yourself?
I think just exercise and being active and doing the things you love and the activities outside of work. Because in work, we're always having these, kind of goals that we need to meet. But then outside of work as well, and managing that work-life balance to feel good. If it's, I love Pilates, for example. So I know on the days I love Pilates, it just keeps my, outlook just brighter because
Yeah.
I did something for myself that makes me feel good and that I know is good for me. I think those sort of little things help too. And just enjoying time, whatever it is, watching a show that's enjoyable, reading a book, all these sort of things that kind of take you out of like the stressors of life that can kind of get you down.
Yeah. So you're saying like self-care
Yes,
and kind of investing in yourself.
absolutely.
That's pretty
Watching podcasts.
podcast is fun. If you could give our listeners some advice based on personal experience on how to help their own confidence, or if they're feeling low, how to kind of cope with the lows and reach towards the highs, what would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's always going to be, ups and downs, like you said. But there's always something to look forward to, remaining, grateful for what you have and staying positive and doing things that help you to stay positive, whatever that is. Exercise helps, that self care, being with those you love, doing activities that make you feel good. I think that all helps with confidence. And, you know, my son just took a international trip on his own with a group, a teenage group, and he didn't know anybody. That reaching outside your comfort zone, I feel like, is always something that helps to let you know that you can do things. So going out there and giving it a shot, whatever it is,
Yeah.
new job, new friendships, new activities.
Yeah, that's really fun. What would you tell your unconfident younger self when she was kind of struggling, specifically with like the career and child rearing balance? If you could give her some advice, what would you say?
Yeah, you got this. And enjoy this time, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment because it's fleeting. It goes by. So focus on the moment and other things will come in due time. Embrace it. Embrace the times that you have other things.
Solid. Very cool. Very cool. Did you have any light bulb moments along the way, along your journey with regards to your confidence or just the idea of confidence in general?
Lately I was working at a job that took a lot of time out of my just time, and I wasn't focusing in on my self-care. So recently I have just thought, you need to take a break, especially now when we're working from home. Um, the work can be never ending. You can work till late at night because you just have your computer and it doesn't end, and it's harder to break, the work day from your life. So I've been making more of an effort to join a book club and do different things, and I'm still trying to roller skate and just do different activities because it's important.
So that light bulb was kind of realizing self-care.
Self-care, yeah. I think that really helps outside of work.
That might be it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Good. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, no, I loved hearing and all your things and chatting with you. It was so interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Any tips on confidence boosting in teens, I would love to have.
Are you saying how to help teenagers specifically as a
Yeah,
parent?
yeah.
I actually think Hopstare has a specific podcast dedicated to that.
Okay. I
So I'm
must listen to it.
send it to you. Maybe I'll link it in the description of the podcast for any other parents who are interested. Anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important.
Okay, thank you so much for everyone listening in, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And thank you so much, Bella. And
Thank you.
sure, have a great day to everybody who's listening.